Alrighty, here we are. 3,000 subscribers, which means another special episode. This one won't be a narrated story, sorry to disappoint you. I'm writing enough of them as it is, and I can't handle writing another one. For crying out loud, the 2K special was turned into a full new series because you bullied me into making it so. I am not taking this kind of risk again. So rather than a narrated story, let me tell you of my original idea for Star Wars X Warhammer 40k fanfiction, a story that will never be. Or more precisely, a crossover where the faction that arrived into the Star Wars galaxy was Farsight enclaves. But before we drop into this little recollection of my old idea, I would kindly ask you to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, the whole shtick. You know what to do. If you can, support me on Patreon, where you get access to a lot of additional content. If you want to support the Star Wars X Warhammer 40k series and want to see more art for it, go to Ko-fi, where I gather funds for new art pieces for you to enjoy. Now, without further delay, let's begin. So, let me clarify a few things for the start. This scenario/idea had more than one version, they kinda merge in my mind at this point. It's been 3 years since I touched this material in any meaningful way, so if something doesn't make sense, remember, it was eternally work in progress and it was never finished. I did it for fun during my lectures on university, if I didn't hear anything interesting. And I didn't really intend to do anything with it. It was just something to keep my mind busy and creative process active after I abandoned quite a big project of mine, about which I might tell you in the future. Probably a 10k special. Anyway, another bit is that I've made some maps and other stuff for the series, most of which is lost and I can't find it. But I got a hand on a few pieces here and there, so you will get to see something of what I had planned. But anyway, here is the basic idea. It's the 42nd millennium, and the situation in the Milky Way galaxy is screwed. Farsight, not seeing hope for the galaxy, looks for a chance to save his people in a different way. By chance, they discover information and pieces of technology that could allow them to escape to another universe. And so, through a mix of different technologies, sciences, and help of unexpected sources, including the Eldar, a gateway to the Star Wars galaxy is opened. Enclave sent expeditions, securing initial territories and colonies, quietly developing them for over a decade, before it was determined that everything is ready for the full exodus. And it was just in time because a gigantic Tyranid Hive fleet and equally massive Orc Wa attacked the enclaves at the same time, and they can't hold. Many sacrificed their lives to hold the line for long enough for everything of value to be packed up and moved to the Star Wars galaxy. The gateway is destroyed behind them, ensuring nothing will follow them. All who were part of the Exodus end up in the galactic north, on the border of the unknown regions and wild space, not far from the world of Kali, homeworld of a certain General Grievous. I'm sure you heard of him. So, from the get-go, you see the main difference from the Star Wars X Warhammer 40k story. Here the Exodus was intentional, a last desperate move by Farsight to save his people from total annihilation and the end times. Rather than sudden and unexpected transportation, we have slow opening of a gateway and slow exploration and colonization of nearby systems, building up a power base and making allies with few minor civilizations they encounter on the other side. Second thing, this wouldn't be enclaves only. We are taking multiple minor Xeno civilizations, some aligned to the Tau Empire, some not. A significant group of Eldar, including a minor craft world of Arach Gwyn, Corsairs, and the population of a couple exotite worlds, made a deal with Farsight to get to the other side. Same with Hrondvi League of Votan, a nomadic group that brought a massive vessel with their Votan with them, and an alliance of enclave-aligned rogue trader dynasties, 6 of them to be precise, bringing their fleets and mercantile ambitions into the new galaxy. So this exodus was a collaborative effort of multiple species, pieces of technology and knowledge gathered and united in a desperate measure to escape. Initial tests, proving that the gateway could be opened, happened around 50 BBY, but the exodus itself happened around 32 BBY, after the area around the gateway was secured. Several primitive civilizations near the gateway were already either subjugated by force or convinced to join the enclaves willingly. After the exodus, the different 40k factions decide to stay semi-united, for now, in the name of survival and preservation in the new galaxy. The Votan see no reason to make the perilous journey to the heart of a galaxy when they do not know what hides there. The Eldar without the webway are severely limited and prefer to create their own autonomous state where they can start rebuilding their civilization, and for better or worse, they prefer to keep good relations with Farsight rather than to stab him in the back. All of them decide to create so-called Union, which would be the name of overall faction, led officially, at least, by Farsight, with Eldar being mostly a quiet ally who wants to keep to themselves, when Votan and rogue traders would be more active. So that was supposed to be the main setup for the story. Now, who is the main character? It's not Farsight, or any major character, really. The main hero would be Shio. Shio is a half-breed, Firecast father and Earthcast mother. I wanted to have a character that would personalize of how enclaves break away from Tau Empire traditions. This includes breaking off a tradition that castes don't crossbreed. Thought it would give the main character a bit more depth. As to why they call him Shio, it's because the name of a Firecast is Shas, and the Earthcast is Fio. Shas plus Fio equals Shio. Some would call him Obsidian, because that's the material created from volcanoes, a perfect example of union between fire and earth. Later on, Shio would make color of obsidian his own, to show he's not ashamed of his mixed blood. Unlike many Tau, he had a choice to make which path to follow. He joined the Fire Warriors, seeing himself more as a warrior rather than a builder, even though he trained both combat and his engineering skills, mostly under his parents, but also in different study groups where he was relentlessly bullied for his half-blood. Even though enclaves aren't as strict with breeding as Tau Empire, some traditions won't change quickly. And there is difference between being tolerated and being accepted by the society. another element of depth of the story and the character. Shio becomes Shastla 2 years before Exodus, where he takes part in the stalling action facing both Tyranids and Orcs, gaining initial experience and knowledge of horrors from his home galaxy. He was combat engineer of a unit and gained experience blowing things up and fixing vehicles with whatever he could to keep them up and running when facing overwhelming odds. Tragically, Shio loses his father and mother during the Exodus. They sacrifice their lives for the sake of last vessels escaping to the Sky River Galaxy. It's during this terrible period that he makes contact with his future love interest, Starsong of the Watercast, who helps him through pain and trauma. But this initial contact is short, as he is called up to deal with sudden Genestealer uprising. Completely cut off from the 40k galaxy, both Genestealers and cultists that hid among the escapees go mad, cut off from the hive mind. Shio takes part in eradication of this cancer, ensuring that Tyranids don't have a hold in the Sky River Galaxy. And that was to be the final appearance of Tyranids in the narrative. They managed to pass through the gateway, but were thankfully slaughtered to the last. Didn't want to deal with Genestealers or hive mind stuff in the long term. After this, Shio is sent to wasteland world of Keshi, inspired by the game Kenshi, where he takes part in few conflicts and loses his right eye in an ambush. This is also where he faces his first trial by fire and fails. Partly because of his mistakes, partly because of old commander's dislike of half-breeds. He isn't given the position of Shas-Ui. Fortunately, next year he takes part in the battle against a new threat, the Grisk, where his squad commander loses his life and veterans are badly wounded. Shio takes command of a unit and successfully extracts survivors. For his deeds, he is given a rank of Shas-Ui and sent to train in a stealth suit, as his talent was finally noted by the higher-ups. In 29 BBY, over the colony of Vergati, he faces off against Grisk once more. This time he is a critical part of a mission to destroy Grisk fleet that hides behind a moon. Shio comes up with a plan to use stealth suits to board enemy ships directly, using moon's gravity to travel to the fleet undetected and infiltrate their ships. His Earthcast training comes in handy here, as it's thanks to that he can calculate exact trajectory for the team to follow. His team successfully takes over the ship and frees Grisk slaves. Shio, on the other hand, gets his name after his deed and plan. Now he will be known as Munsuransai, Moonlands. Not only that, but his talent has been noted by Monad specialists, the Tau Commandos, and so they plan to make him into one. And it's fortunate that they do, for the Union had made contact with Kali, who are about to restart their conflict with the Hawk. Commander Grievous of Kali is saved from a treacherous explosive device placed on his vessel. Soon after, he makes a deal with Farsight himself to unite their forces to bring down the Yamri and the rule of terror in the region. Shio Ui, Viorlos Munsu Ransai, will take part in this campaign, meeting many heroes and future leaders of the Union, including Grievous, who will become a close ally to Farsight himself. And that would be the first season of the story. There is more to it, of course. The Hook War, where Shio would face off against not only Yamri, but also the Jedi and the Republic for the first time. Then there is the Great Caravan, where an expeditionary fleet is sent through the Star Wars galaxy to establish contact and relations with different powers in the galaxy. Shio would be attached to this mission alongside Starsong, with whom he would develop a romantic relationship. They would be working very closely with the veteran rogue trader dynasty that joined the expedition. A good part of the story would be Shio visiting different worlds as part of a great caravan, reaching even the Chiss ascendancy by the end of it. That would most likely be the third and fourth season, Shio discovering the Star Wars galaxy. It would be mostly small adventures, where he works alongside different allies and rogue traders. Fight against scam and villainy, nothing too major. This period of adventures would come to a close with the sudden start of the Clone Wars, when he would be recalled to guard Union borders against all foes. There would be a border conflict with the Republic over a world of Grecia that decided to leave the Republic but join the Union rather than the CIS. After this brutal battle where the Union would achieve victory, news of attempted assassination of High Commander Grievous would reach the front, discovering that both assassination and the border crisis were fabricated by the Confederacy, which would lead to peace with the Republic, and this time Union rage would be turned against the CIS. Shio takes part in the Clone Wars, facing off against the Republic and CIS both, meeting many fan favorite characters, working as a leader of a special force unit after years of experience and training. A group somewhat inspired by the Republic Commando series, though not exactly. Order 66 and Rise of a New Order takes everyone by surprise, but the peace between the Union and the Galactic Empire holds, for a time at least. Moonland is sent to reserve, where he rests, and here I wasn't sure where to push the narrative. Either Shio will be sent to the unknown regions to work alongside the Chiss, including Throne, against the Grisk, or Shio is sent to support Early Rebellion, or maybe that due to some tragedy, most likely connected to Starsong, he abandons the Union and the Enclaves and joins the Early Rebellion on his own, with no support. He would struggle and bleed, but in the end he would rise in ranks until Shio would become a famous rebel commander, equal in fame to Admiral Akbar, and be present at the birth of a new republic. That was my overly bloated idea for the story. It was supposed to be a character-driven and character-focused story, where the whole faction, expansion, diplomacy and intrigue happens in the background and is observed from the point of view of Shio, who sees it first as mere soldier, but in time as a commander who has respect of high command. Another big thing I wanted to explore was that Shio doesn't have plot armor, not traditional one at least. The eye he lost on Kashi, that was only the beginning. He would lose both lungs and 3 limbs during his service, not to mention embrace multiple cybernetic enhancements because of his interactions with rogue traders and tech priests. Even during the Clone Wars, he would be more machine than Tau, but rather than cold, heartless Vader or Grievous from original timeline, he would still be very empathetic and warm, especially to his love and his allies. I also wanted to show the price of war with this character, the price of taking risks in the name of saving others. as all wounds he suffered he took while trying to protect someone else. Eye during ambush to save a comrade. Lungs during the Hak War when Yamri used gas attack against the civilians. Limbs he lost saving his comrades or dragging wounded off the battlefield. Shio was made into a cyborg mostly due to his willingness to sacrifice himself. I also wanted to show the recovery periods after each critical injury, which is skipped in many stories. Here I wanted to explore Shio's mindset and even how he got used to the process with time and amount of wounds he took in the name of a greater good. Another thing is that Shio would fall more than one trial by fire, facing opposition because of his mixed blood, and being forced to prove himself again and again on the battlefield. But also, I wanted to show that even though he grows, he still makes mistakes. He isn't Farsight. He doesn't get top rank quickly because he's special. He would get it through sweat and blood. I wasn't sure what battlesuit or stealth suit he would use, but at least for a time he would be going into battle in heavily modified crisis suit, modified by himself of course, wielding an actual lance or some other polearm melee weapon. Maybe a halberd, whatever would work best. I didn't work it out completely when writing the concept. A big thing I wanted was to have clash with Star Wars characters who have little to no idea about war, while Shio First War was during the Staling action when his homeworld was destroyed and when he lost his parents. This is a general presentation of a scenario. There is of course far more, including dozens of pages of stories and battle scenes, which I wrote because writing is what I do. Those who listened closely will notice that many ideas I had in the story found their way to Tau Empire Reimagined series and into Tauva Coalition lore. Many of the species I came up with for this series were recycled and reused because I won't be creating new races for every new project. If I can reuse something from a project I leave behind. If you want to find out more details, basically all writing on this and previous versions are available on my Patreon. Some pieces are open to public, others are only for supporters. Even though it's an abandoned project and I do not intend to come back to it, you are more than welcome to see it for yourself. The link to the public one and the collection as a whole will be in the description and the comment below. Additionally, I will be running 30% off on all tiers for a week since this video goes out. So if you are interested, you are welcome to join. One more thing. By the vote of my supporters, the Hat University Discord server is going public, and you are welcome to join it. Links will be in the description and the pinned comment below. Now, I would be happy to hear your opinion on this crazy alternative story which you won't get. You won't bully me into making it into a new series. You have Star Wars X Warhammer 40k already, no more. Not to mention, now you have spoilers for most of the series, so ha! I outsmarted you all. Who would want a story if they know all the plot points? If you feel outsmarted, hit the like button, subscribe and ring that bell. You already heard of a promotion on Patreon, but I also remind you of the funds for art commissions for the Star Wars X Warhammer 40k series that are gathered through Ko-fi, so check it out as well. But I think that's about it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed. Now, my dear viewers and listeners, remember, wherever you are, whatever you do, try to enjoy yourself while you can. I wish you most critical day. Ta-ta!